Hello. I just wanted to go through a few reminders with lifestyle recommendations, just for now and just for the future as well. So, one of the things I'm sure I've mentioned in the past is about being grateful, showing gratitude. So, remember in the morning, in the night, because where we switch our mind off, that's what we have. It's called a RAS, which is the filter on our mind. It's our reticular activated system, and our RAS looks for things. So if we wake up in a grumpy mood and we wake up feeling down, then the RAS will look for things like that all day. Whereas if we're grateful for things as soon as we wake up, it will look for the gratitude in the tiniest little thing during the day. And when we go to sleep, just feeling about, how grateful we are for different things. This has been scientifically tested now as well, that this stuff works when we do it. So it's important to, if we can create these little tiny lifestyle changes. So we've done great with the food and we're continuing to do the other little things. So gratitude, one of my top tips is gratitude in the morning and in the evening. We need to keep that balance in life as well. And I think we have actually done before, a focus wheel. So, and it's where we look at our wheel of life and think, are we just working and not playing? How's our finances, our relationships, all of those things. And if you do want a copy of the focus wheel, that's absolutely fine. Just let me know and I'll give you one. But it's important so that that wheel is going round nice and steadily, because sometimes this is what happens with burnout. It's all work, it's all stress and no play. And different, sections within that focus wheel, if we even just visit it once every 6 months, just to see, keep us on the right path, keep us on the right track to prevent that burnout and just to keep us nice and healthy. So that balance in our life, that our wheel, we need to keep it so it's turning as well. We don't want a wobbly wheel that's going to fall off, and that's what happens when we get burnout, really. So it's nice to keep it nice and see where we are, where we're at, which areas do we need to improve on. Um, Mindful eating, that's another one as well. So think about before you eat, 30 seconds before you eat, maybe just breathe in 6 times through your nose and then breathe out through your nose as well. So it's six breathing in through your nose, out through your nose. And what this does, this puts our body in rest and digest, which you probably heard me mention before, rest and digest. So I mean, years ago, sometimes people might do it now, but we used to be grateful for our food. We used to pray before we were having our food, for being grateful for the food that we're about to receive. And, we all used to sit at the table to do that. And things have changed now. People don't really need to do it, but it doesn't matter if you're religious or not. It's just being grateful for the food. But what that allows us to do is put our body in that rest and digest. So that's the whole purpose of doing it. And be grateful and be mindful about the food that we're about to enjoy and that's going to fuel our body with. So it's really important that we don't, eating mindfully. So, and this is why, lots of times, are we at the table or we're not? We don't want phones. We don't want to be watching the telly. We don't want to be half-heartedly doing something, typing away or doing whatever we're doing as we're eating that food. So we need to put our body into that rest and digest stage before we're eating it and enjoying it, and then we're being mindful about what we're eating. I'm sure you'll agree by now that you were certainly tasting the flavors a lot more than we were. So that's where that comes from, kind of praying before we were eating years ago. But we can do it. If you don't want to do that, you can do your breathing. So breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your nose, six breathe in, rest and digest, and then you can enjoy your fuel for your body and your food. A big one which we've also spoke about before, is stress management. So understanding stress is the way that we perceive stress ourselves. So it's the way that we're looking at stress and the way we manage it. We're human beings, so of course we can manage a little bit of stress in our life. Absolutely, we can. Um, but I want you to think about, I think I mentioned before that, if two people were there's been an accident and they're in a queue and one's stressing their socks off because they're going to be late for the meeting, there's nothing they can do about it anyway. And the other one thinks, Celavi is just listening to an audio, a nice podcast or, music that they like or something like that, totally thinking, what, can't control it. So let's just go with it. So it's definitely, which one are you? How do you perceive stress? And it's changing that perception because we know how that affects our gut health. We know how, our body goes into that fight or flight mode when really it's just the way that we're seeing things. We see things as we see them, not as other people see them. But I want you to sort of like change that perception and just think about when you get in those stressful moments and when those thoughts are coming or when you're getting that feeling, just think about what I've said because it's the way that you're perceiving the stress. And you have a choice. You can decide, yeah, how you're going to perceive that stress and how it's going to affect you or how it's not going to affect you. So that's really important to think about, what are those two people are you? So sleep, our body works, has that circadian rhythm. We wake up in the morning and, we should have those higher levels of cortisol in the morning when we wake up that gets us up, gets us motivated. And then we go through the day and the cortisol starts to drop off and that melatonin starts to come in the fore. And that's what helps us feel sleepy and ready to go to bed. So all the other hormones are involved within that as well. But those are the two main ones. And even as we sleep, we have a sleep cycle as well. So it's about having that nice routine as well, getting up at the same time, going to bed at the same time as well. Um, think about what we're doing before bed as well, the hour before we go to bed. Is it really bright light? Because maybe just have a lamp on, turn the light on because we don't, we want to be shutting off that really bright light just to get us into that zone. Not to watch the news, never any good news, not to watch the news, or go on our phones, even scary movies, because when we're watching scary movies, our cortisol starts rising and it's dampening down your melatonin, and then that impacts on your sleep. And it impacts maybe, it might not impact on the length of your sleep, but it will impact on the quality of your sleep. So just be mindful of that because remember, when we are sleeping, the body is healing, the body is repairing. And sometimes we can be, we're not really having that deep restorative sleep. We might get the hours, but then the body's not healing and repairing as well as it should. And often people say, the people that struggle with sleep, they will often be the ones that have the ill health because they're not getting that deep restorative sleep and that healing and repairing and that regeneration. So we're ending up it's just wear and tear on the body, really. So, and there was research done as well that interesting. Another true story. Research, so 24% of risk of increased heart attacks in the morning after the springtime change in the clocks. And that's because the impact of our sleep. But it's actually disturbing that body's circadian rhythm, which is affecting the quality of our sleep. So it impacts on our immune system as well. And that has an impact on our cardiovascular system. And that's why, they see a big risk in heart attacks. So good sleep improves the brain performance, our mood, our mental health as well. So it's key. And I'm sure you will be noticing now you are sleeping a lot better. You're feeling differently when you wake up in the morning because you are now giving your body what it needs to have that restorative sleep, to have that healing and that repairing as well. Um, with exercise, there is a little app you can get actually, and it's a free app, which is called Fiton, Fiton, and it's exercises that you can choose, only small ones. It can be kind of like yoga to cardiovascular. There's different levels that you can do, um, and different intensities. But again, think about that muscle mass as well, because again, the exercise as well. They all come hand in hand. All of these. Um, and last but not least, about being prepared. Yeah. When we used to be in the Scouts or the Cubs, being prepared. So that's how we remember that. And this is by our choices are depending on our circumstances. So wherever we are, if we're going on holiday, if we're going for a meal, if we're going for a do, whatever's going on, we can be prepared for things so that we make those choices depending on the circumstances around us. So really, if we're going for a meal, we could maybe look at the menu first and make sure that we know what we're choosing before we go. We could even decide our drinks before we could forward plan in our mind everything that's going to happen when we get there. And then if we think about any time that we're going anywhere, just if you forward plan, then it gives you a choice rather than being there and then thinking, oh, I'll blow it, I'll just have that. So really think about, that making better choices. We've been making better choices and we know we can make better choices now. So it's all about being prepared, make that better choices and really, really focus on the gains. So rather than the losses, it's all about the gains because our body's talking to us now and we're really tuning in and we're feeling so much better. We're feeling so much energized now as well. So I really want you to focus on the gains as well. I hope that's been helpful. Just a little reminder along the way. All right, then, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.